Get your hands up on that. Good, how about yourself?
Good morning to everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order and welcome each of you here today to the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees January board meeting. We appreciate your interest in the Alabama Community College System. A great deal of work has gone into the preparation of our agenda today. Many folks at the schools, the presidents, their staffs, the chancellor, his staff have put in significant time in bringing us to this point, and we appreciate their efforts. As always, we remain laser focused on student success, and we remain true to our core mission of education, workforce development, and academic transfer. Today we have some special guests with us that I want to take a moment to introduce. Today we have the Wallace Hansville Leadership Academy that are attending with us. If you don't mind, please stand up if you're a part of that group, and let us welcome you today. Thank you for attending. Now I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our visiting pastor today. The Reverend Audrey Rogers currently serves as an associate minister at the First United Methodist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. Reverend Rogers was the director of the Tuskegee Wesley Foundation, a campus ministry for the United Methodist Church at Tuskegee University. Reverend Rogers, an ordained elder in the African Methodist Episcopal Church, relocated from Rock Sound, Eleutheria, where she served as South Eleutheria Ministerial Moderator for the Bahamas Conference of the Methodist Church. A Master of Divinity graduate of Emory University and an MBA of Florida A&M University, Reverend Rogers takes serious the biblical mandate to study to show thyself approved. Prior to her time in the Bahamas, Reverend Rogers worked for many organizations including Lockheed Martin, Caterpillar, and Carter's Retail Incorporated. Though Reverend Rogers has had many roles, she is certain that her current position, serving God's people, is by far the best. Reverend Rogers.
Thank you. Let us pray. The hymn writer wrote these words, "And are we yet alive to see each other's face? Glory and praise to God for his redeeming grace. What troubles have we seen? What conflicts have we passed? Fighting without and fears within since we assembled last. God, we thank you for this organization who remains razor sharp and focused on the development of the full student, on the holistic development of students who are focused on their success and their transformation. We thank you for the 24 universities that are represented in this room today and the impact that they have on the lives of those from Burundi, Africa, to Flat Shoals, Alabama, to Smut-Eye, Alabama, and Tuskegee and all in between. We thank you for their legacy that they have left behind and the impact that they will have today. Be with them now in this meeting. We give you thanks for the partnerships that will come out of this, partnerships that will impact real world situations and answer problems, God, like food insecurity and the need for workers today. We give you thanks for what is about to occur in this meeting. And all of God's children said, Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Rogers. Thank you for being with us today. If you would, please stand for the pledge. Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Secretary, if you would, please call the roll.
Mr. Jeb Shell. Mr. John Mitchell.
Present.
Miss Valerie Gray.
Present.
Mr. Blake McAnally.
Present.
Mr. Goodrich Rogers.
Present.
Mr. Milton Davis.
Present.
Mr. Levelyn Roan.
Present.
Dr. Yvette Richardson.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we'll act on the approval of our agenda. The agenda was distributed in advance to our board members. They've had an opportunity to review this and to make comments. I will now entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion for Mr. Rogers,
Second.
second for Mr. Davis. All those in favor of approving the agenda signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Likewise, the minutes from our December meeting were distributed previously for the board to review, having the opportunity to make comments and corrections. I would now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the December 14, 2022 meeting.
So moved.
You have a motion for Mr. Rogers, second for Mr. Davis. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the December meeting signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Madam Secretary, have anyone signed up for public comment?
No, sir.
No one signed up. Thank you. Now we'll move into item number 7 on our agenda, the College Spotlight. And today we'll be hearing from Bevel State Community College. Mr. President.
Let's see if the presentation is ready. Thank you, Chancellor Baker, Chairman McAnally, board members, for allowing me to be here today to highlight Bevel State Community College and some of the great things we've got going on within our system. Our PR enrollment division has put together an excellent video, one that we definitely plan on using as a promotional tool moving forward. But before I show that to you, I'd like to probably do just a little bit of a setup to remind you of exactly where we are and some of the things that will, some preliminary information to get that started. So we are in rural central to northwest Alabama in the communities of Fayette, Hamilton, Jasper, Summerton, and with a satellite campus in Carrollton in Pickens County. That we cover 4,600 square miles. We often say we're the size of Delaware and Rhode Island put together. We have so much territory there. Offering the same things relative to all of our sister schools, of course, applied associates, academic transfer options, short-term, long-term certifications, workforce solutions, adult ed, and dual enrollment, and of course, health sciences. I'm not sure why that was left off. But Bevel State's total economic impact to this service area is almost $282 million, supporting 3,810 regional jobs. So we are indeed changing lives in that service area. So the work that you do, the decisions that you make, and the resources that you provide, don't think for a minute that it's not having a major impact, and we thank you for that. We are strategically committed to a mission and a vision. Our purpose, of course, our mission is dedicated to student success by providing quality educational and training opportunities to enrich the lives of the people in our area, intellectually, economically, and culturally. In our vision, where we want to take it, always aspiring to move it forward, is to set a standard of excellence in workforce training and partnerships and economic development. I often tell our folks, borrowing this quote from Helen Keller, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight with no vision. So we come there with that in mind every day to improve this and take it to another level. So when I got to Bevel State at a great time, I've been there 2 years in November, but when I walked in the door, Bevel was in the process of revamping their strategic plan. So stakeholders had come together, surveys had been administered, and I walked in the door when the analysis was being done. So taking the KISS approach, I think Dr. Anthony mentioned that in her presentation, keeping it super simple, we narrowed that down to 3 main goals to put into action. And that's what you're going to see in the video here today. Connect, complete, and contribute. The most important, and the one that you'll hear over and over again, is the connect piece. Because if we do that well and we do that right and cultivate the relationships, then the other two will pretty much fall into place. So as we start the video, keep these three things in mind, and you'll hear them several times throughout the presentation. But the video will serve to emphasize our plan in action. So he tells me this is going to play if I move it forward. I hope so.
Bevel State Community College has 4 main campuses and 1 instructional site, serving over 250,000 people in a 7-county area with a service area that spans over 4,600 square miles from the Birmingham city limits to the Mississippi state line. The college has opportunities for academic transfer, health sciences, career technical education, dual enrollment, workforce solutions, adult education. Bevel State Community College is strategically committed to a mission.
I'm Dr. Joel Haygood, president of Bevel State Community College. Okay, our mission at Bevel State is that we are dedicated to student success by providing quality educational and training opportunities that enriches lives intellectually, economically, and culturally. Our vision at Bevel State is to always be striving for excellence for education, workforce training, partnerships, and economic development. We collaboratively with our stakeholders in our college community put together our strategic plan, and we focused on the KISS approach, keep it super simple, and we narrowed that down basically to three main topics: connect, complete, and contribute. Connect is simply collaborating with our stakeholders from our college community through activities, partnerships, and initiatives, which essentially that led to scholarships, capital contributions, and athletic contributions. And all that combined has led to our increase in our enrollment, especially coming out of the pandemic year. We've seen steady increases. I think a lot of that has to do with our Connect piece and the collaboration among the stakeholders in our community. We've seen almost a 2,000 credit hour increase in dual enrollment, and that's largely due to our community partners, like the Walker Area Community Foundation with the Don Drummond Family Fund, the City of Jasper contributing $100,000 to career tech educational opportunities, the Pickens County Foundation, and then also the Bevel Foundation in the Fayette community.
Another joint effort with Bevel State Community College is the Don Drummond Family Fund dual enrollment scholarships that is sending every year students through, especially those that are looking for technical education certification and moving on with their life as part of the workforce in Walker County. We've been partners with Bevel for decades, and we're proud to be working with them. We're especially proud as Bevel begins to express itself more and more off campus and in the community as part of the new and improved Walker County.
My name is Sean McDaniel. I am the College and Career Center Principal and Career Tech Director for Pickens County. I am blessed to be a part of the Pickens County College and Career Center. It was in 2015 that we began working to birth the vision of the opportunity to expand dual enrollment. The Pickens County College and Career Center has always, Pickens County School District has always been a part of dual enrollment with Bevel State through just the history course 201 and 202. But we began to recognize the need of expanding from a career tech standpoint. And so we began to partner with Bevel State, and we learned that high wage and high demand was very critical in determining these programs and where students could receive jobs. And so, with a long-standing relationship with Bevel State Community College, and we sat down, and it was a great opportunity and collaboration to not just throw money at dual enrollment, but to write a pathway and develop a product. And so we looked at our entire programs across the board, and we then began to determine we needed more money. And so from there, we developed what was called the Pickens County College and Career Center Scholarship Foundation, in hopes that business and industry would contribute, in which they have, to provide us with an opportunity to fund those classes through Bevel State. So we began to open those pathways and fund those programs for our students here in Pickens County, and parents began to buy in. With our partnership with Bevel State, the buy-in began to take place. Our scholarship foundation began to receive money from various organizations throughout West Alabama. And then our students began to sign up, and parents began to understand this dual enrollment process, that their child could get college credit, high school credit at the same time, and also be able to earn an associate's degree or certificates, depending, and credentials through the Pickens County College Career Center and through Bevel State Community College. And today, now here on the campus at Pickens County College and Career Center, we offer right at dual enrollment program classes. We have a 60-hour program for industrial maintenance. We have computer science, which is now 6 certificates and an associate's degree program. We offer, most students leave us with around 40 to 42 academic hours, plus the associate degree pathway hours in the career technical field, which is an amazing opportunity. It takes kids out of poverty. It takes students out of poverty. It gives them hope and an opportunity to find success. It gives them the opportunity to achieve their educational goals, whether it be at the associate degree, bachelor's degree, and future to the master's degree. Also gives them an opportunity to make money and to provide for their families, and to give them an opportunity to create success.
We also have our STEM 22 partnership, which is a true community collaborative effort between Alabama Power, the Walker Area Community Foundation, our K-12 partners, the Jasper City School System, and the Walker County School System, along with Bevel State. And the idea is to provide a seamless transition as students progress along from middle school to high school, culminating in a career pathway in the STEM field here at Bevel State Community College.
The STEM 22 grant, it is a really interesting partnership from the grantor side, because it is the Walker Area Community Foundation and the Alabama Power Company. But on the other side, it's Bevel State Community College coordinating with the Walker County School System and the Jasper City School System. And our ultimate goal there is to really get the STEM introduction to the students as early as possible, hopefully around grades 4, 5, and 6.
Complete is simply empowering our students, both credit and non-credit, through programs and services to see them through completion, through their educational goals or whatever their career pathways may be.
This past year, each year we seem to turn out more associate's degrees. This past year we had 14 industrial maintenance associate's degrees. We had over 30-some students earning within 3 credentials in welding, pipe fitting, opportunities available. And then we have, of course, over the amount of some 42 academic hours that are prepared to transfer to college.
This allowed these students to immediately enter the workforce in a high-wage, high-demand field. At Bevel State, we're emphasizing rapid training opportunities through our Workforce Solutions Division and creating clear pathways that get students into the workforce quickly through both long-term and short-term certifications. Contribute is exactly what it says. It's us contributing to our community and providing a skilled workforce and an educated citizen base. A key element of our Contribute piece is apprenticeships. And we are proud of our Machine Tool Technology Apprenticeship, which was the first competency-based apprenticeship in the state of Alabama in machine tool technology.
My name is Marie Single. I am the Director of Career Technical Education here at Bevel State. I'm not only an employee, but I am a former student. I went through a career tech program. I worked in the field for several years. But I started working in the field when I was still a student. So giving the opportunity for students to work while they're taking classes is very beneficial. And I understand that completely because I know the benefit that it was for me. I came to Bevel as an instructor. I was an instructor for 18 years in a career tech field. And I know what it is, the hard work for someone to work and go to school. I also know how rewarding it is when they get that first job and see the look on their faces, and that brings excitement to me, just as if it were me getting a job. Here at Bevel State, we have several registered apprenticeships through the Alabama Office of Apprenticeship. Our first one to register was welding. And then now we have HVAC service, which is heating, air conditioning, and refrigeration. And one of our most recent is our machine tool. I'm happy to say that Bevel State's machine tool apprenticeship is the first in the state to be competency-based. So we are now signing on industry to employ students as apprentices. We also have several companies that are working under a non-registered apprenticeship. They are employing students to work around their schedule and paying them, and so they're learning while they're on the job and while they're in the classroom. And this is a great benefit for the students because they're learning in two different aspects, two different ways. It's also a benefit for the industry because they can see how the employee is working. One of the benefits of students dual enrolling while they are in high school into our programs is as soon as they graduate high school that they're able to interview for an apprenticeship position. And this will allow them to go to work as soon as they graduate high school and continue to complete the program. So it's a great benefit for them to be already a Bevel student and then complete at least 2 years under the umbrella of dual enrollment and then be able to move straight into an apprenticeship program.
The FET Community Foundation, the Bevel Foundation, and the Beauvais Foundation, which provides multiple scholarships to the students that attend the FET campus. Also here in Walker County, we have the Walker Area Community Foundation and the Walker College Foundation, and then also our municipalities in making their contribution. The City of Jasper in helping us to improve and renovate athletic facilities. The City of Summerton doing the same with our softball complex. The list goes on and on of how our community partners have come together with the college to make our facilities more appealing and to provide opportunities for the students in our service area. Another partnership that we're proud of is the Wofford County Arts Alliance, which is now located here on our campus to provide a culturally enriching experience for our students through the arts.
President Haygood, the faculty and staff here at Bevel State love establishing relationships inside this community and want to see it change and grow for the better.
I often tell our folks and our community partners that we are your community college. That turned out being a little bit longer than we intended, but I'm a little bit like one of my colleagues said. If you don't want to, if you want me to brag, I could be here all day. So I want to commend Tana Allred and Andrew Brassfield in our PR department for putting this video together. They did an excellent job. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll move along now to Section 8, Executive, Legal, and Public Information. We have one action item under this section, Item 8A1, for Chattahoochee Valley Community College. It's for the approval for naming Collaboration Room in the Learning Resource Center. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize the president of Chattahoochee Valley Community College to rename the Collaboration Room on the ground floor of the CVCC Learning Resource Center in Owen Hall to the DeWilda Dilly Elliott Collaboration Room and to add appropriate signage. The fiscal consideration is a $100,000 gift from Mr. Arthur Elliott. I'd entertain a motion.
Motion for Milton.
Motion from Mr. Davis. Second from Valerie. Any discussion, comments? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Moving now to Section 9. Section 9A, Item 9A1, Drake State Community and Technical College, approval of increase of special building fee. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize Drake State Community and Technical College to increase the special building fee from $9 to $15 per credit hour. The fee will take effect in fall of 2023. $97,272 is the estimated additional revenue based on 16,212 credit hours projects for the FY 2023 budget. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Rogers.
Second.
Second, Mr. Davis. Any comments, questions? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of this item signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Moving now to item 9A2, also Drake State Community and Technical College capital funding financing. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees approves the chancellor and president to structure the financing amount of up to $10 million for approved critical capital improvements to campus facilities. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Rogers,
Second.
second from Mr. Roan. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Moving now to item 9A3. Coastal Alabama Community College Bay Minette Gymnasium renovation. It is recommended that the Alabama Community College System Board of Trustees authorize Coastal Alabama Community College to proceed with accepting bid alternate number 1, new entrance addition, associated with the project named Bay Minette Gymnasium renovation. The overall scope of the work for the entire project includes upgrades to building systems, interior improvements to building finishes, new bleachers, and the addition of a new building entrance. The project is expected to bid in June of this year and final completion expected first quarter 2024. Entertain a motion for this item.
So moved.
Motion for Mr. Mitchell,
Second.
second, Ms. Gray. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Moving now to item 9A4. It's a resolution of the Alabama Community College System approving the purchase of real property from Executive Park 4522 LLC. I'll spare the reading of the entire document as it's rather long. The Trenton State is seeking to buy property for expansion of facilities related to their health science education, training facility, and other related programs, including but not limited to technology and cybersecurity. I'll entertain a motion. Motion for Mr. Davis, second from Mr. Roan. Any questions, comments about this item? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. The motion carries. All right, through those items fairly quickly. So, item number 10, personnel. Ms. Finkelstein.
Good morning, everyone. How are you today?
Good morning.
I would like to introduce 4 fabulous new employees to our system office. We'll start with Dr. Abigail Carter. Would you stand, please? Dr. Carter is our new Associate Director of Computer Information Technology Instructional Programs. She has over 35 years of experience in information technology, most of it in the higher education area. She served in the positions of instructor, dean, and vice president of academic affairs at various community and technical colleges. She most recently served as dean of the School of Business and Industrial Technology at Southern Regional Technical College in Georgia. She has a bachelor's in information systems from Auburn University and a master's in business administration from Brenau University. She also has a doctorate in educational leadership and an education specialist degree from Liberty University, and she is a veteran of the Army Reserves. Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Charlotte McClendon. Charlotte is our new Student Success Compliance Officer. She has served over 10 years in higher education, with the last 4 specializing in Title IX investigations. She served as Title IX Administrator and Investigator at the University of Alabama, and most recently as Title IX and EEO Investigator at Auburn University. She has a bachelor's degree in political science, a master's in public administration, and a master's in criminal justice from the University of Alabama. Thank you, Charlotte. All right, next we have Ms. Sandy Dutton. Sandy is our new workforce coordinator for our Innovation Center. She has 23 years of experience in education, both in the K-12 and community colleges. Served the last 10 years at Calhoun Community College as an administrative secretary, accounts clerk, payroll clerk, and most recently as workforce solutions assistant. She has an associate's degree in both office administration and accounting from Northwest Shoals Community College, and she will be based at Calhoun until the Innovation Center opens. Thank you, Sandy. And we have Matt Heaton. Matt is also a workforce coordinator for our Innovation Center. He has almost 20 years of experience in instruction in community colleges and the K-12 system. He most recently served as special education teacher at West Point High School in Coleman, Alabama. He has a bachelor's degree in collaborative special education from Athens University and a master's in instructional leadership from the University of West Alabama. He will be based at Wallace-Hanceville until the Innovation Center opens. Thank you. So please help me welcome all these talented new people to the system office.
Welcome aboard. It's great to have you. Next on our agenda is item 11, Chancellor's Report.
We're going to start with asking Boone. To give us a legislative update and also an update on the press conference we had yesterday in that program.
Yes, sir. Good morning, board members, and Happy New Year to each of you.
New Year.
Well, you know it's time for the legislature to start ramping up when you start hearing from me. In fact, the legislature's been in town this week. They began their 2023 organizational session yesterday. Organizational sessions are held once every 4 years for the purpose of electing new leadership and new officers, as well as adopting new organizational rules for each chamber for the next 4 years. No bills are allowed to be introduced in these sessions, only the leadership elections and rules. The organizational session, like I said, started yesterday. They expect to come in today and finish their business, and then we'll leave later today. After today, the legislature won't meet again until early March for the 2023 regular session. However, bills can start to be immediately pre-filed upon the conclusion of the session today, and seeing some of those pre-filed bills certainly will give us an idea of what the priorities will be for the legislature moving into the next session. There was new leadership elected yesterday in both the House and the Senate. The House is going to have almost brand new leadership across the board. Representative Nathaniel Ledbetter was elected Speaker of the House. Representative Chris Pringle was elected Speaker Pro Tem, and John Treadwell was elected House Clerk. Representative Scott Stahagen is going to serve as the new House Majority Leader, and Representative Anthony Daniels will again serve as House Minority Leader. In the Senate, they're going to basically return the leadership from the last quadrennium. Senator Greg Reed was elected as Senate President Pro Tem, and Pat Harris returns as the Secretary of the Senate. Senator Clay Schofield will continue to serve as Senate Majority Leader, and Senator Bobby Singleton will continue as Senate Minority Leader. You know, obviously with the legislature in town, the Chancellor and I had a good opportunity to go over to the State House. We spent most of the day yesterday over there just having conversations and meeting with legislators. And I want you to know it is very apparent that your work and the work of these presidents and colleges are being noticed based on the very positive comments and conversations that we're having with legislators. So kudos to you and our presidents and our colleges for the good work that's being done. As Chancellor Baker also mentioned, we wanted to also update you on an exciting new program and initiative that's going to start taking place here in the next few weeks and will go through February. We did have a press conference yesterday that kicked this off, and I was blown away by the amount of people that attended, both from legislators to media to other interested stakeholders. And the announcement yesterday was a partnership between the ACCS and the Alabama Association of RC&D Councils to host 30 college, career, and apprenticeship workshops across the next month at our community colleges across the state. These workshops will provide active military, National Guardsmen, and veterans with an opportunity to learn more about the education and workforce development programs offered at the colleges, as well as state and federal financial benefits that are available to them to go to college. It will give an opportunity for these individuals to directly have conversations and interact with college staff, as well as industry representatives who will hire them once they come out of college. And it will include hands-on activities that may include things like resume writing, career exploration activities, campus tours, and other sorts of things like that. These workshops were made possible from a $50,000 sponsorship that was given to ACCS from the Association of RC&D Councils through funding that was provided through the State Education Trust Fund budget. So we're most appreciative to the RC&D Council Association for the partnership. I think it's going to be a great thing for veterans and military, as well as our colleges, to really showcase you know, what they can offer to these individuals. So we'll certainly share more information with you as we finalize these things. We do have most of the campus locations and dates have been finalized, and we'll certainly share those with you and would hope that you could attend one or more of these events. So any questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I want to thank Chancellor for doing this. As a father of a son on active duty who's coming off active duty this year, I hope he'll take advantage of that and get one of these jobs, and I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Boone.
Karen. I was getting nervous. I couldn't see you. Just want to make sure you were here, because we are undertaking, as you well know, planning for the future. Many things come to play on that. Many forces come to play on that. And a plan for the future just can't stay stagnant. So I've asked Karen and David Walters to head up another attempt, not just an attempt, but a project of developing a strategic plan for the community college system and this office. Karen?
Thank you for letting us have a few minutes of your time today. David and I will be working very closely together on all types of projects underneath the realm of strategic planning. In the first 90 days. We've already started some of this. We're going to be doing a lot of information gathering, and the presentation from Bevel was very exciting because that plays right into what David and I have been talking about. We want to share the things that our schools have already been doing and work together. Just as you can see the background of my slide, we have a lot of great puzzle pieces, and we're going to take them and bring them together so that we can share that with the state and continue to grow our influence. Dave and I will be working on a strategic framework plan, so we'll give you obviously more details as we come back to the board. We've got key players that are going to be putting information onto I'm going to call it a simple list right now. Everyone from the senior leadership here at ACCS, you, the board members, presidents, and business leaders. So we're going to get everyone engaged because, again, just like we heard from Bevel, our schools are doing some really great things. Well, if it works at one school really well, we're going to replicate that at other schools and share that wealth. We're also creating some governance groups, starting with the Executive Steering Committee. This group's going to be charged with looking at these lists of items and initiatives and helping to prioritize it, and then they will report back to the board and Chancellor Baker. The next phase, just like I mentioned, the governance group, the executive group, we're also going to be doing some other governance groups, focus groups. I'm going to be going out to a lot of the schools and meeting with presidents and their leadership, getting ideas and suggestions for initiatives that are both statewide and for their region. David's going to be working with a lot of the community organizations and businesses, again, to get feedback from them. We also have an IT focus group that will be specifically looking at needs for IT in general. And one other thing before I go to my final slide that I want to make sure of telling you about, we also are going to be focusing on professional development for our employees. That's key to growing our staff and our teams to help each other. We'll also be looking at a cybersecurity program. We're also going to be looking at Google and the federal virtual training environment, which is another program where we can get free training for cybersecurity and different types of IT. And then our students would then take certifications to qualify for specific kinds of jobs. So those things are all coming in 2023. Are there any questions? David and I look forward to telling you more.
Thank you much.
David, you want to come forward and talk to us about your project?
Which one? No, certainly we're going to talk about the 60th anniversary. And Ebony, where's Ebony at? Yeah. I want to really showcase Ebony. She certainly is doing a lot of the great work behind the 60th anniversary, and we're very proud of it. If you remember in December, I kind of shared with you some big picture stuff of what we're doing, and now Ebony's going to give you a little more detail in what we've been doing over the last month. So with that, Ebony, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, good morning. It's a blessing to be here and to see everybody. It's no secret that over 60 years, we have a lot to celebrate. And we're going to do our best to celebrate all of it as best as we can. That includes highlighting students, faculty, staff, just making an intentional effort to make sure that everything the Alabama Community College system represents comes to the forefront. And not only are we going to celebrate our past, but we're also going to use this as a foundation to kind of etch our path forward, to let folks who choose to invest in the community college system in Alabama know exactly what we're about. So to do that, that's a fancy one. How do we do that? There we go. To do that, we could do many things great, or we could pick a few things and make them absolutely excellent. So what we decided to do is pick 4 staple events that are pretty much going to document our 60th Jubilee over the next couple years. A big piece of that is going to be our college showcase that I'll talk to you about, as well as community service events, a gala, and a golf scramble. Now this, let's see. Well, there we go. All right. So our college showcase, we're not reinventing the wheel here. We have a lot of colleges that do some excellent events, and our team in communications has been scouring social media as well as looking at college calendars to figure out what some of our colleges' big events are, whether that's a festival, whether that's some kind of Dancing with the Stars event that I haven't been asked to show my skills at yet. Either way, there are some great things already happening. So what we're going to build is kind of a calendar, kind of like what Alabama did in the bicentennial where they had the traveling monument. We're going to make a unified effort to jump behind 24 events that show the very best aspects of Alabama's community colleges. And so we'll build this calendar with our teams at the colleges so that from April all the way up to the end of 2024, we'll have an event throughout the state representing our colleges. After the college showcase, we'll talk about some community service events. And now some of you might remember when we did Clean Home Alabama, where it was a one team, one fight event, where even though everything was about litter pickup, each college was able to highlight their own event. So we'll be doing community service events just to show that we're the core of our community. Those may not be as scheduled or coordinated as our college showcases, but they will be able to brand themselves as the 60th Jubilee celebration. And then from there, y'all help me out again. We'll have our gala. Our gala will be an opportunity for everybody. My mom used to say that a mom is only as strong as her weakest child. We as a system are only as strong as our internal foundation everywhere. So that means celebrating everybody, from our welding instructors and folks who do just our weekly trainings, all the way up to our division heads, our presidents, and our leaders. We want to get in a room and just celebrate together, let our hair down and fellowship and talk about the great things that are happening. This will also be an opportunity to get in front of our stakeholders and just let them know what we're about. And then from there, we're looking at a golf scramble. And now the goal behind this is that none of us would exist without our students, right? And so David will talk a little bit more, but we'll be working with Pals for Success to raise $600,000 that will solely go towards scholarships for students who may or may not be able to get to campus as easily as we might think, whether that's help with childcare, whether that's help with transportation. $600,000 will go toward that effort. And one big way that we'll do this is through a golf scramble. I'm told it's never been done, where Robert Trent Jones can actually shut down every golf trail, course in the state and have our folks come there and just fellowship again together. But it'll be a really, really big fundraiser where I believe we can cover that $600K probably in the golf scramble alone. David and some other external folks will coordinate this together, and we'll let you know more details as that comes. But we really will need all colleges on deck to help make this happen. Now, in order to do this, again, we need committees from each of our colleges. This isn't a system level type effort. We need everybody on deck. And so we've developed 8 committees. You don't see the steering committee up here, and David will talk more about that, but they'll help oversee these other 7. That's going to be that fundraising committee, the marketing committee, the media committee that our team, Clyde, has already started building up some images and stuff that we'll use, the scholarship committee, gala committee, Committee, Community Service Committee, and College Showcase Committee. And we'll be reaching out probably the end of this week or early next week with staff members at your colleges just to see if they're interested, and if they are, to touch base with their presidents to make sure it's okay for them to lead this statewide effort. Every single college is going to be represented in some way. So if they're willing and want to get started, we'll start from there. If not, we'll put our hat back out there. But our team actually, again, went through social media and looked at college calendars to see what's already done well in our system. And based on that, we built these committees so that it can be a highlight for everybody else. Are there any questions on the 60th at all at this point? Nope. All right, then, David, well, I'll let you take over.
You bring so much energy with this. Wow. All
Very
right,
cool.
so why don't you go to the next slide, if you
Yep.
don't mind,
If
and
I can
navigate
figure
for
it
me.
out.
So all of this is going to benefit the Pass for Success Foundation. So we're going to really focus and targeted on assuring that we have funding available for students across the state of Alabama that want to take advantage of our education and training opportunities, even though they may be low income and they may not be Pell eligible. We'll be able to focus these funds on those individuals. So all the proceeds will be going to the Pass for Success Foundation. And we actually have a Pass for Success board member with us today. George Clark, would you stand up, please? Would you go to the next one as well? Stand up a minute, George. So George is one of our great board members, and certainly Jeff Peoples, I think you all saw on the website, we actually congratulated Jeff for his recent promotion as President and CEO of Alabama Power. He's a board member along with George, and then I want to show you some of our team. So certainly Neil Wade is our chairman, Terry Mitchell's the secretary, I'm the current vice president of the foundation. And then we've got our executive director, Patty Houston, which many of you all may remember Patty with Coastal Community College years ago. We have Greg Barker, Sonny Brassfield, certainly there's George, Greg Cochran, Tim Lewis, Jeff Peoples, Taylor Williams, and Robin Stone with Business Council of Alabama, although there has been some changes there, so we'll be updating that member very soon. But I just wanted to give you all a flavor of the board members we have within the foundation. So certainly this is a great event that we're excited about celebrating the 60th, which will be 2023, and then it'll also go into 2024. The golf scramble will be in the spring of 2024. So we'll be doing a lot of, like Ebony said, local events. We'll be doing statewide events, and we're just going to really have a celebration over the next year, year and a half. So certainly any questions on any of that? Okay. Thank you.
All right, well,
Chancellor
thank
Baker.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, board.
Vicky's going to talk with us about another project that I'm sure is going to be as exciting as the one we just heard from.
It's hard to follow David and that energy, but yeah, I do have something exciting to talk to you about today. I want to thank you, board members, for the opportunity to provide you with an update from the Division of Instruction, Research, and Development on transfer pathways and the future of our AA and AS degrees. And I'm not entirely sure that this thing is working or if somebody in the background is controlling these slides. So I'm going to try to move it. Okay, works. So I just want to start by reminding you of exactly what an Associate of Arts or AA degree and an Associate of Science degree really is. Those are both full 2-year degrees that prepare students to transfer to a 4-year college and earn a bachelor's degree. And the AA and the AS degree both require a total of 60 to 64 credit hours, and they have an identical requirement for the distribution of those hours among areas 1 through 5, with 41 of those hours coming from areas 1 through 4 in written composition, humanities and fine arts, natural science and mathematics, and history and social and behavioral sciences. The remaining 19 to 23 hours can come from those 4 areas, but they can also come from pre-professional major areas or electives as well, according to the degree that they want to earn at the 4-year college. I would also note that the AS degree is much more popular than the AA degree. The AA degree has lost popularity over the years, and enrollment in the AS degree plans currently outpaces enrollment in the AA degree by about 9 to 1. So in the broader scheme of how important the AA and the AS degrees are among our community colleges, what you'll see is data from fall of 2022, which shows just last semester, in that one semester, we had 31,768 students who were AA or AS degree-seeking students. That represented 40% of our total enrollment. 34% of our total enrollment, or 26,697 students, were pursuing other degrees or certificates in CTE areas. And 26% of our students are non-degree seeking. That's 20,059 students classified as non-degree seeking. And you may be wondering why so many students are classified as non-degree seeking. Well, dual enrollment students by federal regulation have to be classified as non-degree seeking. And we have a really robust population of dually enrolled high school students in our enrollment. So it's generally assumed that those 32,000 students that are enrolled in our AAAS degree programs do intend to transfer to a four-year college or university. And we make that transfer in Alabama a lot easier than it once was. In 1994, the legislature amended the Code of Alabama with Act 94-202, which provided for a uniform articulation agreement among all public institutions for the transfer of credit from two-year colleges to four-year colleges. It specifically provided for transfer credits for both the freshman and the sophomore year. And that legislation paved the way for the establishment of the AGSC committee and the STARS program, which is a system that has worked beautifully for many, many years to ensure successful transition of our students from a two-year college to a four-year college. And the STARS system has recently been rebranded as Alabama Transfer, but it essentially functions the same way as the old STARS system. It provides students with an official guide for course taking at a two-year college and provides them legal protection for the transfer of those credits to the institution that they chose as their intended destination. So the Alabama transfer system is very, very important. But despite the fact that we have the Alabama transfer system or the STARS system, we have many students who choose to transfer early and not to finish the AA or the AS degree. For example, in 2020 to 2021, in that academic year, we graduated 5,267 students with an AA or an AS degree. The following year, in 2021 to 2022, we had 8,527 students who transferred from an ACCS college to a public four-year institution in Alabama. That is 62% higher than would be expected. So if you've only awarded about 5,200 degrees, but 8,500 students are transferring, what you have to assume is that they have elected to transfer before earning their degree. So, unfortunately, there are a lot of reasons why students would want to transfer early. First of all, there's the lure of the big university experience. The football games and all the events that go on at a four-year institution. That is powerful. There's also misinformation out there. We have high school counselors who are actively encouraging students to transfer early because they tell them that if they don't get an early start at that university, They will not be accepted into the professional programs like engineering and architecture, which is absolutely false, but that misinformation is out there. There's also a general unawareness of the value of an associate degree to the student. And ironically, when students experience academic success in community college coursework, they often feel like they have been validated as being ready for the big leagues, if you will, and it encourages them to move on before graduating. And unfortunately, we have a kind of new reason to worry that students will be incentivized to transfer early. And one of these is the University of Alabama voted last year to implement a general education reform that we suspect might encourage our students to transfer earlier than ever. The plan reduces the current core curriculum from 53 to 55 credit hours to 37 to 38 credit hours in general education core, plus a minimum of 9 credit hours in advanced education. And in that new Gen Ed core, 1 hour of that 37 to 38 has to be completed at the University of Alabama by the transfer student. And all 9+ hours in advanced education will be in junior and senior level coursework that has to be completed at the University of Alabama. So that reduces the transfer hours that are automatically creditable to a bachelor's degree for our students to 36 to 37. And so that encourages our students to go ahead and transfer to the University of Alabama without finishing their degree. So our instructional officers and our presidents, we intend on working with them closely over the next few months to try to mitigate these reasons for early transfer. The AGSC is also aware of the plan at the University of Alabama and will be discussing it. It's on the agenda for their March meeting. And while this plan will not be implemented until 2025, we are going to be working hard to ensure that we make our AA and AS degrees really relevant. So in other words, we're going to be working to review our curriculum and possibly redesign our AA and AS degrees to ensure that they have enhanced relevance to the workforce and value beyond transferability. We'll be working with our Student Success Division and with folks at the college in the Student Services area to strengthen advising, educate our students on the importance of degree completion and the importance of using an official STARS guide and the financial cost of early transfer to the student. A student will pay more than twice the tuition and fees at a university in Alabama for the same course that they could get at a community college. And I don't think we tell our story of affordability well enough and impress on the student the financial cost for early transfer. And then we will be working to strengthen relationships with all stakeholders, including our high school counselors and our universities, to ensure that we are all on the same page, that we're giving the same message to our students who intend to transfer. And we do intend to provide an update on these efforts to you at a meeting later this spring. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Neil, we always want Neil to be on the positive side.
That's right.
As we talk about enrollment.
That's right, and today is no different than the last few meetings have been. But I have some more detail to share today. I won't go long, but we do remain really encouraged on the enrollment front. Last month I reported to you that our final fall 22 head count and credit hour production were up over fall 21, and it's always worth mentioning that is in stark contrast to what's happening across the rest of the country. Kelly Birchfield, our Director of Organizational Effectiveness and Research, dove into those numbers a little bit because to me, it's not enough to be able to say we're up in enrollment. I want to know how that happened. I want to know what populations and what student characteristics we see in this particular class. And so she, I'm not going to list them all, but some of the highlights that she brought to light are very, very encouraging. Now, I'll also mention that just because we were ahead in these head counts, that does not mean that we are up proportionally to the size of our class. But we did see head count increases in first-time students, dual enrollment students. That's not a surprise to anybody. I was very, very encouraged that we were up in first-time students as well as dual enrollment. We were up in both Pell and non-Pell recipients. We were up in traditional age students. We were slightly down in non-traditional, which for the purposes of this are defined as a student who is 24 and older. And so we're excited about combating that decrease with our partnership with Wiley. Our colleges were not live with that Wiley Beyond project and that partnership until November of 2022. So we had not had an opportunity to really see that increase for fall 22, but we expect to see some results from that in the coming semesters. We are up in both female and male students, students of color and white students, full-time and part-time, and we also saw an increase in the number of students taking traditional in-person courses and in blended delivery, meaning that part of their schedule was in person, part of it was online. But we saw a slight decrease in the number of students taking online courses exclusively. So very excited to be able to share some of those details. I think it's encouraging to be able to look at those and see what is happening across the system. Switching gears to the spring 23 term, which is the term that we just started or are about to start, depending on the college. Just yesterday, we exceeded 100% of where we were last term. Now, there's still a lot of time left in this term to register students. So we have the spring mini session that is coming up, and of course, we will also lose some of those students because of dropping them for non-payment. But of course, our colleges are really following a strategy there to make sure that they are collecting from as many students as possible so that they drop as few as possible. But I mentioned that we still have some time to go in this term to be able to register students. So year to date, we're nearly 8% ahead of where we were on this date last year for spring enrollment. So that's very encouraging. Let's see. Looking to the future, though, we're looking at, while we have students registering for spring, we're following the application trends for summer and fall terms. So for summer enrollment, we're currently 9.2% ahead in the number of applications we've received for the summer term. And for fall, we are 26% ahead in applications from where we were this time last year for fall. That's extremely encouraging. And I'll also mention, too, I've worked in enrollment long enough to know that just because you're ahead in applications, that does not always mean that you are going to be up in enrollment. But with some of the other partnerships and as we continue to repeat and echo, just being laser focused on student services, using the TargetX tool to deliver some really robust and sophisticated communication out to our applicants, and then using tools like Wiley Beyond and their call team to help support the efforts that our enrollment efforts. I feel like all of those things combined, we have no reason to be pessimistic about fall enrollment. I feel like we will be up there as well. So. Our team continues to work really hard to make sure that our colleges are focusing on non-traditional enrollment, making sure that communication is going well. Taylor Hillier is working with our financial aid offices at each college to make sure that we are awarding students as quickly as we possibly can and getting a financial aid award in their hands. And so there's a lot of work that's happening. Tessa Brown, our dual enrollment expert, I can't say enough about the good work that she is doing, and again, you're seeing a lot of that as it results in dual enrollment increases. So there are a lot of great things happening with enrollment, and they're going to continue to happen, and we're going to work hard to make sure that they do. So I'll entertain any questions that you have.
No, I'd have one just with respect to the national average. Do you have any data on that yet as far as trends?
The last that I looked, that trend of the national decline had slowed some. I think from fall 20 to fall 21, it was a decline of about 5%, 4.8%, something like that. This year, that decline did slow a little bit. It hovers right around 1%, depending on the article that you read and the data that informs that. But it seems to be about 1 to 1.5%. So again, the fact that we're up, and I think I last looked, we ended up being up a little over 4% from fall 22 to from fall 21 to fall 22. So it's about a 5% differential there.
Very good.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chancellor. Great reports. We'll move now to item number 12, committee reports. I believe Mr. Davis may have a report for us.
I do. Thank you. I have a Personnel Committee report. The Personnel Committee, consisting of myself, Mr. Roan, and Ms. Gray, initiated Chancellor Baker's performance review on December 1st, 2022, in accordance with Section 6 of the Chancellor's Employment Agreement, which requires an annual review to be completed by December 31st of each calendar year. And we utilize the community college system's customary evaluation process, which provides each member of the Board of Trustees the opportunity to evaluate objectively the Chancellor's performance in regards to the following metrics. First, the Chancellor's embracement, promotion, and advancement of the vision and mission of the Alabama Community College system. The Chancellor's efforts to secure the necessary capital, legislative appropriations, and other resources for the proper management and operation of the Alabama Community College system. The Chancellor's leadership and direction in building a culture of integrity and excellence through the Alabama Community College system. And once again, the board's collective evaluation of the Chancellor was exceptional. On a rating scale with 1 as a low and 5 as high, the Chancellor's composite score was 4.9. So you got a little bit of room there to improve this year. The board has complete confidence in the Chancellor's abilities, and he continues to lead the Alabama Community College system. And I'm going to share the comments from one of our board members. He wrote this in his summary of the evaluation. And it reads, as Chief Executive Officer of the Alabama Community College system, the Chancellor consistently exhibits skills, capabilities, and behaviors beyond the minimum standard, such as effective leadership of the multiple institution system, appropriate fiscal responsibility and asset management, development of helpful community relationships, and the continued advancement of the community college system as a public educational institution focused on academic achievement, increased economic mobility, and support of Alabama's business community. In executing the duties commensurate with the role, the Chancellor collaborates and routinely communicates with the Board of Trustees, creates a climate of respect for staff, faculty, and school leaders, and supports a commitment to growth and creation of sustainable opportunities for students. Chancellor, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Thank you, committee, for the work. And Chancellor, thank you. It's a pleasure to work with you, sir. I would just offer briefly from the Audit Finance Committee board, you recall a few months back, we engaged with multiple professional accounting firms to do our audits across our colleges. And as chairing the Audit Finance Committee, I've had the opportunity to go through about a dozen different interviews over the last weeks, which is a requirement of the audits. And I can tell you that they are progressing very well, and the schedules look good. So we're very pleased with what is happening among all the professional firms that we've engaged with. Any other committee reports? All right. The date and location of our next meeting is actually going to be our work session for January, and we've been at it about 1 hour and 15 minutes. We'll take a 10-minute recess following this meeting, and then we'll immediately reconvene for a work session. Our Board of Trustees meeting next month, February 8th, is actually going to be on the campus of Bishop State Community College in Mobile. So please make that note, and if there's nothing further, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Appreciate it. Okay.
Catch that plane.
Yes, sir. Okay. Travel safe.
Travis, good to see you.
Glad you're here. Go back to Nick and tell him all the great If you ever have any questions, we're trying to do our part, get it better about the family, making sure that we work with all the parents. Thank I'm assuming you just want me to come straight up when the work session starts? Yeah. I see I'm first up. You are first up. All right.
No press, you don't have to. So Adams and Reed's, they're really wanted to do this. Well, looks like there's water. Just like all of us, 100 miles an hour. Barely a time to get yeah, it's my favorite. But I'm gonna enjoy it. I have to be the fiscal manager at home and tell my wife now. So we're going to go. Chris Rock and those are your two favorites. What do you do? So we're going to fly and see the Can you send the LBW pilot to fly? No, you know. Yeah. Our plane in the shower. I didn't know you fly. Wow. Do you have a plane like you fly? Yeah. It's a good culture ship. Yeah. So how many, you had to get all your hours and everything? Yeah. That's pretty cool. So I'll tell y'all a funny story. When I first got this deal, I met with the guy, Dave Harvey, owns an IT guy, it's a tech guy, his own thing. He flies as well. So Abe was talking to me, yeah man, we should go to breakfast one day. So we're about the same age. He's like, yeah man, no problem, we can hang out and go to breakfast. And I said, yeah, we can go, this place. And he said, no, we should go to Denton. It's a long way to go to breakfast. He's like, no, we go to Denton all the time. And then he went on the story. He said, I get up on Saturday, fly to Denton in my plane. He has his own, and I park it and go eat pancakes and I go back home. Like, you can just drive my house, man. Like, for a lot less gas. But he has kids. Yeah.
Since I have 4 college students, it's funny. Like me and you would go to.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much do you really spend?
Apparently Joe knows one of those people. My daughter wanted pancakes, so we go to the Island House or whatever is in Destin. I think there's some kind of system. I believe you on that. I 100% believe
Figure that out and share it as
Yeah, that's right.
yes, I hope. All right, so hopefully that's all good.
Craig's got a lot of mean faces. Yeah, and your blood's been thin too, man. Man, I'm worried about you. I'm start checking you out. I can probably get some of the people. Yeah, that's right. So Joe, we were in Atlanta for Saks in December, so I texted these guys. It's like 5:30. Like, come on, guys, let's go to Top Golf. They went to sleep. The night before Brock hung out for me, I'll give them credit. But they went to sleep at like 6:45. I was disappointed. Particularly Brock, not him. Disappointed. They wouldn't go to Top Golf. Why did it have to be up? I didn't see it. The night before, Brock and I would have some type Top Golf, it's not serious. He was. Brock looked like you should have called one of us. It was his first shot. So I'll make the statement that you sent me so I go to my administration Saks Queen of the World. So where do I go? She started this change. She switching to good to sweet so good, really, really good. So I'm like, man, I get up there like 4 days. I'm like, well, how long you been here? Since Wednesday? Saturday. You know, Saks doesn't start until like a Sunday. What are you talking about? This is your company. Listen, I'm in the budget with my names.
You still not? Okay. 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 I'll talk to them and I'll see what's going on.
Well, we texted that to you.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Go ahead and get started with our work session. I think our first item up under executive is Boone. He's going to talk to us about legislation.
Yes, well, good morning again. Again, we're in legislative season, so we bring before you today the annual legislative agenda that we always bring before the legislative session for your consideration. Even though the session doesn't start until March, we've got a lot of colleges that are planning legislative events later this month and in February. So we wanted to go ahead and get this to your attention so where they could start making plans to maybe include some of these things in some of their discussions. The agenda is really just 5 bullets here that I'll briefly go over. The first bullet is all of the things that you all prioritized in the budget request that you approved earlier or late last year and that we've sent over to the governor's office for consideration. So it just lists out all of those things that were included in that budget request. The second item deals with funding from the Advancement in Technology Fund. As you know, we've received very helpful appropriations the past few years from this fund related to technology and capital purchases and facilities improvements. And we again are encouraging for them to make an appropriation from that fund again in the next year. And we're asking them to use the existing funding formula that they've used since the beginning. There's been some discussion that we've heard of, that there may be some talk of maybe looking at changing that formula. The formula that's in place now is very beneficial to the ACCS, and we would like them to continue using that. The third item is supporting a one-time supplemental appropriation specifically for capital improvement projects. As you know, in the past, we've talked about the large amount of money that's out there for one-time appropriations in the next session. The $1.7 billion or so is out there specifically for educational one-time use. And we have submitted a proposal to the governor's office for specific to capital improvements. As you all know, we've got projects going on at every college in the state, and because of what we've seen in the construction market, those prices are continuing to go up, unfortunately. So to finish out those projects and our plans in the immediate future, we do need some additional support, and so we certainly will prioritize that. The next item deals with supporting confirmation of the governor's appointments to this board. We're in the year where we will have appointments that will need to get Senate confirmation, and that's always an adventure dealing with that. So if this board would authorize us, we can go ahead and get on top of that and start working that issue. Once the governor has made those appointments, we'd like to get those early in the session so we have time to work with the Senate and get those through as quickly as possible. And then the last item, as you all remember, there was legislation during the last legislative session that would have been detrimental to this board, would have been detrimental to the community college system. We were able to organize and push back on that legislation. We think if this board would go ahead and include that item in the agenda, we can go ahead and really organize, really start to work. Should this come back, hopefully it won't, but should any effort like this come back, we'll be ready and prepared to do what we need to do to push back on that effort. So there'll be other issues that come up during the session that we'll deal with, but these are the primary priorities that we see at the present time. So at this point, I'll open for any questions.
Boone, with respect to that last bullet item, there's nothing pre-filed, I presume, at this point?
There's not, but we're in a unique year where they haven't been able to pre-file bills up until the organizational session concludes,
Gotcha.
which will be today.
Okay.
So I expect, actually, this afternoon and later this week, we might start to see some of those pre-filed
Okay.
bills come forward.
Very good.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. O'Brien.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
It's time for our purchase of our professional legal liability coverage for the coming year, beginning March 1. We have received a quote through our broker from our current carrier, and I'm pleased to report that the quote for this year's coverage is a 4.9% decrease over the policy amount for last year. The coverage is still the same retention amounts, just going to cost a little bit less this year.
Very good.
Anyone have any questions?
David, that's a rarity.
It is in this insurance market.
In this market, it's very rare, honestly. All right, next we have a recommendation regarding adoption of a policy with respect to purchasing. Ms. Sarah Cahoon.
Good morning, everyone. So this policy that we would like to bring before the board in February is in a direct response to a new state purchasing law that took effect in October of '22. Major adjustments to the state laws, which requires either the colleges remain under state law or move under board authority law. And so we would request that the board accept our new policy standards so that the colleges have greater flexibility in their purchasing opportunities. But also, it really aligns very well and it's very timely with our shared service initiatives that we're moving forward with and our purchasing activities that we'd like to hone to provide greater services and a larger savings as a whole for the system. So this is in draft form at this point. We will be working directly with the policy committee to hone it. One of the major changes that we're requesting the board consider is that we're raising the bid limit. In previous law, it was $15,000 bid limit. Current law, it's $25,000 bid limit. We're requesting the board consider a $50,000 non-competitive bid limit for two reasons specifically. Number one, it directly aligns with federal micro-purchasing non-competitive bid limit of $50,000. And so we have found that when you have consistent thresholds, it is much more, expeditious and efficient to keep track of where your bid processes need to start at that threshold levels, both with state and federal funds. So that's one reason. And then the other reason is, as prices continue to increase, the opportunity to find like items at that $25,000 level is really putting a strain on our colleges, and the time that it takes to draft bids and then offer bids and then receive bids, can delay the purchasing process by several months. So this would just give them a little bit more flexibility in their purchasing authority. I would like to point out that this in no way would prohibit the presidents from restricting purchasing maximums. They could implement their own purchasing maximum so long as they didn't exceed what the board approved. Another major change is the implementation of a purchasing manual statewide that the colleges would utilize for general guidance purposes, and that the board would have the authority to approve and update as necessary as new purchasing needs became apparent for the system.
And these are related to purchases, material purchase, expendable materials, not unlike construction projects and things, different title, different law, I think, right?
Different title, different law.
Yeah.
Correct. I neglected to say one other major component of the new law disallows the systems to utilize what the examiners have approved as a National Joint Purchasing Agreement authority. And so without the board implementing some factor, the colleges would no longer have access to national approved joint purchasing agreements. That is part of the new law that our system is specifically excluded from that authority that's been provided by the examiners for national joint purchasing authorization. So that is another thing that the system office would take on at your request to manage the approved national joint purchasing agreement contracts.
Okay, very good. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next, instructional research and development, Trenton State Community College addition of instructional site. Mr. O'Brien.
This is Trenton State's request that the Board of Trustees approve an additional instructional site for the college. The college has entered into a collaboration with Baptist Health to recruit both students to the practical nursing program at the college and to possibly become employees at Baptist Health upon their graduation. The practical nursing graduates will be offered employment with Baptist Health. The use of the site through this collaboration will allow the college to increase the number of students and the number of LPNs in the area. The instructional site will be in the Institute for Patient Safety and Medical Simulation at Baptist Health, and the cost to the college for this new instructional site will be nothing. This proposed new site will allow the college and Baptist Health an opportunity to meet the workforce demands for skilled and competent nurses in the area and in the state. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll move into our facility section. Mark?
Good morning, board members. We have 5 projects for you to present to you this morning. If the slides will pull up. Thank you. We've got one at Calhoun, a gymnasium. We do have the continuation of the work at Prattville for Central Alabama, and this is for welding. And then we have 3 roofing projects. The first one is at Calhoun. This is the gymnasium work that they are currently doing on the campus. In your packet, board members, we did include in there information that does show the areas that were identified within the gymnasium itself, if the slides will advance. And the areas that are highlighted that you see in here are areas that do exist within the facility that are existing locker rooms, but they are also taking areas and repurposing those areas that were not locker rooms and converting them into additional locker room space. All of this is to be done to accommodate the return of sports programs that they've added in recent years and to accommodate and have those facilities for those specific sports. And you can see some of the additional slides that we have here. We do expect those bid returns to come back to us around the 3rd of February in response and in preparation for the February board meeting. The next project that we have is at Prattville. This project here is going to focus on phase 2, which is the welding shop. This is being prepared and goes out to bid so that we can have returns back to us later this month and bring the results to the board in the February board meeting as well. In the information and conference calls that we had last week, we did discuss this a little bit further, but we're optimistic about those bid returns as they will come back to us in a couple of weeks. The next one is at Lawson. Lawson has 2 projects. The first one is in the Birmingham campus, and this is the east side of that Birmingham campus. We have there at that location the building that has been identified for adult education. It also has space for warehousing and so forth, and also accommodates a small portion of the facilities operation. As you look at this slide in the area that is outlined, across the parking lot is an old facility that has historically been used for warehousing. And that is the intent of the college, to take that building down as we waterproof this facility. Anything that is of any value in that building will be moved into this, in addition to the continued use of the space for adult education. Bids we expect will come back to us at the end of January, and the results, we'll bring those to the board for action in the February board meeting. And then the second one at Lawson, this is occurring at the Bessemer campus. At this location here, this is Building B. This has a lot of the programs for HVAC, automotive. We also have in this location some of the other arts programs that are offered at the college. This re-roofing solution is going to be happening in connection with that building that is already under renovation activities for the use of the CARES funds that we are investing in to renew in that facility. Bids for this are also slated to come back around the 20th of January. As we advance the slides, we then come to Trenham. And this project is for the west or the Trenham campus, west of Montgomery. This is the building on this location here is the only flat roof system that we have. And it's leaking. As we look to make improvements and to put a solution on here, the rest of the buildings are a standing metal seam roof solution. So we're going to tie the architecture of that building and blend it in with the rest of the roofs. And as those roof returns come back to us, we expect they will return around the beginning of February and to have those results brought back to the board for action in February as well. Board members, any questions at all about these 5 projects that we've presented to you this morning? Thank you, board members.
Thank you, Mark. All right, well, if there is nothing else, that is the totality of the agenda for the work session, and we will consider ourselves adjourned.
Did that in good time.
Stayed done. I thought it was going to be a little longer than that.
Well, you have an interest down there, don't you?
Yeah.